Hi everyone and welcome back to Ochagurumi. In today's tutorial, we'll be learning how to crochet a Butao coaster. We'll be using a 3.25mm hook and some white yarn. To start off, make a magic circle, and then single crochet 3 into the magic circle. Pull on the tail to close it up. To start the next round, chain 1, turn, and make an increase in every single stitch. So that's 2 single crochets in each stitch for a total of 6 stitches. Make sure you're going under both loops when crocheting, and remember to chain 1 before starting a new round. For round 3, we'll do a pattern of 1 single crochet, followed by 1 increase. Repeat this 2 more times. For round 4, start off by making 1 single crochet, and then 1 increase. To continue, we'll do a pattern of 2 single crochets, and then 1 increase. Repeat this 1 more time. To finish off, make 1 single crochet. In round 5, we'll do a pattern of 3 single crochets, followed by 1 increase. Repeat this pattern 2 more times. For round 6, start off by making 2 single crochets, followed by 1 increase. Then, we'll do a pattern of 4 single crochets, followed by 1 increase. Repeat this pattern 1 more time. Finish off by making 2 single crochets. For round 7, we'll do a pattern of 5 single crochets, followed by 1 increase. Repeat this pattern 2 more times. For round 8, start off by making 3 single crochets, and then 1 increase. Next, do a pattern of 6 single crochets, followed by 1 increase. Repeat this pattern one more time. Finish off by making 3 single crochets. For round 9, we'll do a pattern of 7 single crochets, followed by 1 increase. Repeat this pattern 2 more times. For the last round, start off by making 4 single crochets, and then 1 increase. Continue by doing a pattern of 8 single crochets, followed by 1 increase. Repeat this pattern one more time. Finish off by making 4 single crochets. So now we've finished the semicircle portion of our coaster. This will be the top of the head. Now we want to start making rows this way, and in order to do that, we need to single crochet across the flat side of the semicircle. To do this, start by chaining 1. We're going to make a total of 20 single crochets across. And now that we're halfway done, we'll start hiding the tail as we crochet. And then we'll remove the stitch marker to make the last single crochet. We'll do a total of 10 rows of 20 single crochets. This includes the first row that we just finished. I've just finished up the last row, so now we'll start working on making the curved portion of Bootao's tail. For row 11, we're going to start with a decrease. To do this, go into the first stitch and pull up a loop. Then, go into the next stitch and pull up another loop. Yarn over and pull through all of the loops on your hook, and that's a decrease. To continue, we'll do 17 single crochets. And now in this last stitch, we'll make an increase. In row 12, we're going to start off by making an increase. To continue, make 17 single crochets, and then finish off with one decrease. Row 13 will just be 20 single crochets. To start off row 14, we'll do an increase, then 17 single crochets, and then one decrease. Remember to always chain one before starting a new row, and for row 15, start off by making a decrease. Then, make 15 single crochets, and 3 increases. Chain 1, turn, and now for row 16, make 1 decrease, (16 single crochets), and now that we have 4 stitches left, including the one with the stitch marker in it, we'll finish off by making 2 decreases. For row 17, we'll do a pattern of 3 single crochets, followed by 1 decrease. Repeat this pattern 2 more times. Finish off by making 4 single crochets. Now we'll just chain 1, pull the yarn long, cut it, and weave in the end on the wrong side of the work. Make sure to also weave in the starting tail if needed. Now I'll show you how to crochet the arms. I placed these stitch markers off camera and they're in rows 3 and 7. It's the same on both sides. We'll start with the right arm. Begin by removing the stitch marker in row 7. Then, put your hook through, pull up a loop with your working yarn, and chain 1. Into that same stitch, make a single crochet, and try to hide the yarn tail as you're doing this. Now we'll just continue single crocheting across into each row. So this is row 6, row 5, row 4, remove the stitch marker, and there's the last single crochet into row 3. Then, chain 1, turn, and to start row 2 of the arm, we'll make a decrease. So remember, go into the first stitch, pull up a loop. Then, go into the next stitch and pull up another loop. Yarn over and pull through all of the loops on your hook, and there's the decrease. I'm going to mark the first and last stitch of each row with a stitch marker. Then, just make 2 single crochets, and finish off by making an increase in the last stitch. Remember to chain 1 before turning and starting a new row, and row 3 will just be 5 single crochets. To start off row 4, make a decrease. And then, make 3 single crochets. Row 5 will just be 4 single crochets. Chain 1, turn, and do 1 decrease, followed by 2 single crochets to finish off row 6. For the last row, we're going to go into each of the 3 stitches and pull up a loop. Then, yarn over and pull through all of the loops on your hook. And now we can see that this arm is complete. To finish off, chain 1, cut the yarn, and weave in the end on the wrong side of the work. Now that we've finished crocheting the right arm, let's move on to the left arm. It's similar but not exactly the same. Again, we've got our stitch markers placed in row 3 and row 7. For the right arm, we started by removing the stitch marker in row 7, but for this one, we're actually going to do the opposite, so we'll start by crocheting into row 3. I'm just going to grab my working yarn, and I'll remove the stitch marker in row 3. Use your hook to pull up a loop, and chain 1. Then, into that same stitch, make a single crochet. Continue by single crocheting across into rows 4, 5, 6, and then remove the stitch marker to make the last single crochet into row 7. Then we'll chain 1, turn, and for row 2, we'll start off by making an increase. Then 2 single crochets, and then 1 decrease. For row 3, we'll just single crochet 5. Remember to chain at the end of each row, turn, and row 4 will be 3 single crochets, followed by 1 decrease. We'll just make 4 single crochets for row 5. In row 6, we'll start off with a decrease, and then make 2 single crochets. For the last row, we'll do the same thing we did before, so go into each of the 3 stitches and pull up a loop. In total, we should have 4 loops on our hook, so yarn over, pull through all of the loops on your hook, and now we've got an arm on each side. To finish off, chain 1, cut the yarn, and weave in the end. After you've finished crocheting the coaster in white, you'll repeat all of these steps using black yarn. There will be one main difference though. Starting in row 11 of the bottom portion, we'll work the ghost tail in the opposite direction. I've written the instructions here for your convenience, so once you've crocheted up to row 10, you can come back and continue here. We'll attach the 2 pieces together at the end once we've added Butao's face. Let's continue on to the eyes. We'll be using a technique called surface crochet. If you've watched some of my other videos, you'll already be familiar with it. You'll want to use a slightly smaller crochet hook than before. I'm using a 2.25mm and some orange yarn. To start off, make a slip knot. We'll be starting the first eye at the outer edge of round 6 of the semicircle. So poke your crochet hook through to the back of the work, and then pull up the loop of the slip knot. Tighten it if needed. Then, poke your crochet hook through the work again, pull up a loop, and make a slip stitch. Continue surface crocheting until your line reaches the outer edge of round 2. For me, this took 4 slip stitches. Once you're done, pull the loop on your hook long, cut it, pull the tail through to the back of the work, and weave it in. After that, we'll just repeat the steps to surface crochet a second line below and slightly to the right of the first one. Repeat this process to make the second eye. The only difference here is that the second line will be slightly to the left of the first one. For the mouth, we'll embroider it on using orange yarn and a yarn needle. We'll start embroidering in row 2 of the bottom portion, underneath the leftmost eye. Remember to pull through as much yarn as you think you'll need to both outline and fill in the entire thing. We're going to start with the curved edge of the mouth, so I prefer to use stem stitch for this part. Once I finished the curve, the mouth ended up being about 5 stitches wide at the top. To continue, embroider the right corner of the mouth using backstitch. After that, you'll want to embroider a triangle cutout for Boo Tao's tooth. Use backstitch to finish embroidering the outline of the mouth. Once the outline is done, you can fill it in with satin stitch. When you're done, weave the tail end through the back of the work and cut off any excess. Now we'll crochet the front and back pieces together. For this, we'll use a 3.25mm crochet hook and black yarn. We'll start in this bottom corner of the left arm. Poke your crochet hook through both pieces. Then, take your working yarn, pull up a loop, and chain 1. Next, we'll go through the same stitch, making sure we're going through both the front and the back pieces, and make a single crochet. Mark the first stitch using a stitch marker. Continue this process of going through both pieces and make single crochets all the way around. Hide the yarn tail as you're doing this. I just made the last single crochet, so to finish off, remove the stitch marker and make a slip stitch into the first stitch. Chain 1, cut the yarn, and then weave in the tail end. So that's the end of this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and remember, if you have any questions at all, you can leave them in the comments down below and I'll try my best to answer them. If you liked this tutorial, you might also enjoy my video on how to make a guoba cup sleeve. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.